I'm intentionally wearing things that don't match. This Canucks hat that I hadn't worn before today, I got it a couple weeks ago, and Philly, so we have orange and green, so it's just ugly. There's a reason for that. So, this is this past season's sports forecaster. These are the 8 teams that they said would make the playoffs that didn't. These are the 8 teams that made the playoffs that they said wouldn't. Asterisks are next to teams that they said would finish first in the division that missed the playoffs. And asterisks are next to the 4 teams they said would finish at the bottom of their divisions that made the playoffs. So, there seems to be a common theme going on. That there's certain teams that I'm burying. And I'm going to get to the Rangers first off. I see the Rangers making the playoffs. When publications come out with their predictions, I have a funny feeling that at least one of them is going to pick the Rangers to miss the playoffs. And it's a popular perception. They're a popular team to say, all right, they're going to fail. Sort of like in the West, San Jose's kind of had that around them since they missed the playoffs that one year. There's kind of been that feeling at all right, it's gonna get old. But I think the term I hear a lot is this: you hate on that team. No. I look at a team and I say, all right, based on what I see, this is where I think they're going to finish. Now, when you look at this predictor model, it's funny because I had a hard time envisioning Florida in the playoffs last year, and I took some flack for that during the summer. I had envisioned Ottawa missing the playoffs where I was wrong. I could be very wrong about the Rangers. But here's what the Rangers are up against. They're up against Pittsburgh in that division, who they've beaten in in recent history. But being up against Pittsburgh, and I think the fact that Columbus, on paper, to me, is still the better team. Adding Panarin is huge. And the one thing I keep seeing from Rangers fans is, yeah, we just need to add a center. Then we're fine. That's huge. Pittsburgh needs a center too, but they need a center to replace Cullen. The Rangers, in my opinion, in my eyes, need a top 2 center. They don't want to move Miller to the middle. They just don't want to do that. So, for my money, the New York Rangers are good enough to make the playoffs, but I don't see them in that contender spot. And it's not hate. I've grown enough through this channel over the last year that hate is not really a part of it anymore. You can go back and look at any videos from last summer. Hate was part of it. Absolutely. But now, I've covered teams enough and watched enough games and followed enough hockey. And that happens. I know during the strike shortened season, coming out of the last lockout, where the NHL center ice package, I think the whole season was $100. So I got it. And my stance against teams softened a lot. The number one thing that can make you hate is not knowing. So it's really easy to hate on a team or potentially on certain players until you learn that maybe their history, maybe you learn about something with their family, maybe you learn about their giving to charity, which is what did it for me with Subban. It was easy for me to hate on Subban, and then I heard about him giving to the hospital, and I'm like, ugh, I can't hate him anymore. And I haven't hated him since. On the ice, he can play like a douchebag, yes. But the player himself, I don't dislike him. Because he's done so much good. It's one of the reasons why I will vehemently defend the Sedins. That they've been very generous with their money as well in Vancouver. And they've always given back to the community. They appreciate where they are. I know at the All-Star game, Kessler tried to make me like him by letting his kid go out there and skate around. Nice try, Mr. Kessler. Nice try. But even that, even my stance against Kessler has softened to the point where I'll say, yeah, he's probably the best two-way center in hockey. And, last year I would have said, well, he's not what he used to be, and Vancouver traded him at the right time, and he's going to trend down, and he's going to be overpaid, and I don't say that anymore. So, while I understand Rangers fans being upset, believe me, when these magazines come out, and last year, Sports Forecaster had the Rangers dead last. They had Edmonton dead last. They had Minnesota dead last. Toronto dead last. I know I shouldn't read out of a magazine you people haven't bought, but it's interesting looking at it. Edmonton's blessed with an outstanding three-headed monster down the middle. In fact, they're strong at center. They're so strong at center, the rumors persist of an eventual Nugent-Hopkins swap for more defensive help. Lucic leads the way on the port side, while Eberle will be backed up on the right wing by 16 first-round Finn, Jesse Puljujarvi, who could make an immediate impact. Things are definitely in the upswing in Edmonton, especially with the opening of a brand new arena. That said, things have looked good in the recent past too without any results. The proof of whether the new arena is different will be defined by the early standings come next April, and their prediction is last in the division. So it's like, yeah, everything looks good in Edmonton, and we don't buy it. Minnesota. Boudreau chose the Twin Cities, where he had some history. He began his professional playing career in the long-gone World Hockey Association as a 21-year-old with the Minnesota Fighting Saints. He inherits a veteran-led team with an established nucleus that may take one last best shot at a deep postseason run. Koivu, Parise, and Suter are all playing on the back nine of their illustrious careers. In Anaheim, Boudreau had an excellent young defense core, two superb goalkeepers, and elite forwards Getzlaf and Perry. He crafted the NHL's best special teams. The Wild stacks up comparatively well on the blue line, and youth, depth, and savvy, led by minute muncher Suter, and can count on the goaltending tandem of Devin Dubnyk and Darcy Kemper, deciding who plays the roles of Getzlaf and Perry's, where Boudreau may prove his worth or fall short. Parise's the obvious choice for the sharpshooter role, while free agent pickup Eric Stahl is a fascinating option for top center. He'll be playing 6 hours from his hometown of Thunder Bay and is looking to redeem himself after a lackluster performance at the Rangers. Prediction, last place. Rangers. I'm only reading the last bit of this. It's hard to see that the issue's been addressed heading into this season. So the Rangers are a much worse possession team seemingly overnight. An aging defense core took most of the blame. It's hard to see how that issue's been addressed. Veteran puck movers and power play specialists Keith Yandel and Dan Boyle have been replaced by journeyman Nick Holden and Adam Clendenning. That does not sound like an upgrade and probably means a heavier workload for Captain Brian McDonough. Youngsters Brady Shea and Dylan McElrath may log more minutes, but this roster is practically screaming for another established puck-handling defender. Up front, the Rangers were without a 30-goal scorer last season and saw Rick Nash slump from 42 to 15 goals, his lowest output ever. It may be time to accept that his best days are behind him. Unless he rebounds sharply, the club will be relying on Matt Zuccarello, Derek Stepan, and newcomer Mika Zibanejad to generate offense, but none are ranked in the NHL's top 30 scorers, so a trio of young forwards must step up. Kreider, Miller, and Hayes. They are evolving into top 6 forwards and may assume bigger roles with more responsibilities this season. Without a first-round pick in the 16 draft and with little cap space, the Rangers stood by while rivals improved dramatically. So the road to the Cup contention looks more daunting. 8th place. They predicted 8th place. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's easy to look and say what's going to happen. You never know. I'm predicting the Rangers are going to be there. It's picturing them having the depth at center to survive past a round or two that I have a hard time with. Shattenkirk's a good ad. And their goaltending should be solid, but man, Pavlich is a downgrade from Ronta in my opinion. And that, you know, Ronta was relied upon at times by the Rangers and Cam Talbot before that. And really, if Lundqvist gets hurt, it could be game over for the Rangers. Because while I want Pavlich to bounce back, it's been too many seasons of him putting up below-average stats in the NHL. Maybe a backup role works really well for him. I don't know. His numbers in the AHL weren't great either. So, and again, that sounds like hate. It's just me stating what I saw, what the numbers tell me, and what I saw when he played. I watched Winnipeg games when he came back, and you know he was trying. Maybe he was trying too hard. Maybe it'll be better with the Rangers. But for me, this is the key thing. That's why I made a video saying proving all of my predictions wrong in 8 minutes. I could be absolutely 100% wrong. And you guys could be 100% right. My guess is nobody will be 100% right. There's a lot of uncertainty between seasons. And there's no way of telling. And I've already said continuity from season to season. So if a team had a really good second half, or a really good run after the All-Star break, or a really good run after, especially after trade deadline, I don't weigh that too much. I look just at the end of the season, where the stats were, where everybody was, and what adds they've made and what subtractions they've made. So there's that. Anyways, I hope I've explained myself well enough. Because again, you know, when I see this a lot, oh yeah, he hates this. He hates this team. I don't hate. I have the Ducks finishing second in the Pacific. If I was going to hate on anybody and just trash them and say, it's their last shot, they're done, it'd be the Ducks. And I don't do that anymore. I don't. So, thank you guys for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And again, I'm probably done for now. We're going to go to the Abbotsford Agri Fair. Well, Yvonne's there with the kids. That's why I'm doing videos today while I'm doing them. But we're going to go to the Agri Fair because there's some kind of a street hockey thing, and they say it's celebrity street hockey. And I use celebrity with quotes because I'm not sure if it's local, if it's obviously not going to be George Clooney. So if my mother-in-law expects me to make an introduction soon, she's out of luck. Just checking to see if my mother-in-law is going to watch this video. But yeah, it's something I want to see, and then they have wrestling going on too, so I may enjoy some ECCW wrestling while I'm there. And there's a demolition derby, so I may take my phone along and record some of it, and I'll definitely talk to you guys after. Have a great rest of the day. There's still smoke out there. I don't think it's as bad. It's either not as bad, or we're just getting used to it. It's one or the other. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys again soon, and thank you so much for your support. You guys are awesome, and it makes it tons of fun to be in here doing this.